What's up, you guys? Cody here. So today we're going to talk about Superdrol. Superdrol's a really crazy one because there's a big story that goes into the guy who founded Superdrol, I guess you could say. Because originally it was synthesized by Syntax in 1956 during research for an anti-tumor compound they were trying to create. But it was never commercialized as a prescription medicine because it was so harsh on the liver. But it wasn't originally called Superdrol. Originally it was called methyldrastanolone. It wasn't until 2005 when a guy who was kind of researching gray market chemicals to put together a supplement created Superdrol as we know it. Because by 2005, the FDA had banned so many different compounds that were considered performance enhancing drugs, right? But when the FDA classifies something as illegal, they have to get right down to the freaking tiniest percentile of ingredient, because this is people's freedom that you are going against, right? So everything on that list is super important, and for whatever reason methyldrastanolone just got kind of buried in the research. So it was still one of those things where you could get away with compounding it and selling it. So this guy named Matt Cahill in 2005 found this gray market ingredient called methyldrastanolone that had been stuffed down in the research. No one really knew it existed. It just kind of got forgotten about. And he developed it and sold it into a supplement called Superdrol at his New York supplement business. That supplement business was called Designer Supplements LLC in New York. By about 2006, 2007, people were having liver issues. I'd say early 2006. It wasn't even the FDA that started to kind of realize, hey, there's something going on here. It was actually sports journalists and people that were reporting on, different gray market supplements. It wasn't the FDA whatsoever. So these sports journalists came across people who had suffered liver injuries because of this product. Not only that, there were professional fighters, there were professional athletes that were also suffering liver damage, and they all had one thing in common: they were taking Superdrol. And the same thing happened years later after Superdrol got broken up and dismantled and all the legal battles that went on with that. Matt Cahill developed another gray market supplement called Craze. It was a pre-workout fat burner, and apparently it was just insane. The thing is, Craze had an ingredient inside of it that was literally the cousin to methamphetamine. So fighters, professional athletes, people who were being drug tested were failing drug tests for amphetamines. And again, what was the one thing they had in common? They were taking Craze. When it was designed by Syntax in 1956, they kind of didn't find a way that they could use it in medicine because of the harsh liver. So owner of Designer Supplements, Matt Cahill, was already a notorious figure in the supplement world when he launched Superdrol in late 2004. So already, before Superdrol, before Craze, he was already facing federal charges for an internet business selling DND, a highly toxic pesticide used for weight loss, and had caused a death of a teenage girl. Unbothered by his impending prison sentence, Cahill found an unmarketed 1950s pharmaceutical compound, Methasterone, manufactured it, and sold it separately as a dietary supplement. When Designer Supplements created it, the store that made it global was bodybuilding.com, owned by the time by Ryan DeLuca. At the time, Superdrol was sold alongside regular protein powders and vitamins. Funny enough, Superdrol wasn't discovered by the FDA, like we were saying. It was investigative journalists that ended up finding it. Scientist Don Catlin, the legendary founder and director of the UCLA Olympic Analytical Laboratory, the first drug testing lab in the USA, analyzed Superdrol and discovered it wasn't a herb, vitamin, or pro-hormone. It was a potent steroid. In 2005, the FDA issued a harsh warning to Cahill at Designer Supplements, forcing them to cease operating, and WADA added it to the banned substances list. The FBI raid at Cahill's shop didn't happen until 2009. Although Superdrol was recalled, many companies kept selling it between 2005 and 2009. So when you think of Superdrol, you think of quick, mass, fast, within a few weeks. Superdrol is often faked. It's usually anadrol compounded, and you're not actually getting Superdrol. When you get real Superdrol, your body's only going to be able to handle it for 3 weeks at a time, maybe 4 weeks, until it starts suppressing your appetite, giving you jaundice. You know, it's gonna hurt your body. It's one of those compounds where you got to be really careful, and the only time you'd really want to use it is pre-contest, because there's absolutely no gains that orals will give you that injectables won't give you over a 6-week period, provided dosing is the same, right? When you go on stage and you have lumps and bruises, you're getting docked off your final score. So that's why pros will use orals before a contest, because then they don't have to inject anymore. Their skin's going to be fine. They're not going to have oil lumping up under their skin or possibly an infection that could make them lose points. If you take Methasterone and attach a 17-methyl group to make it orally bioavailable. What is a 17-methyl group? Imagine your body is a castle and you want to send a tiny messenger like a hormone into the castle, but there's a problem. The castle has a gatekeeper called the liver. The liver's job is to smash any new messengers that try to walk in the door. A 17-methyl group is like giving the messenger a shield and sword and code. Now it can enter and do its job and be processed. What's a 2A methyl group? A 2A methyl group is like a second shield attached to the messenger. Why would you put a second shield? Because it blocks aromatase enzyme, and the aromatase enzyme's job is to grab male hormones like testosterone and turn them into female hormones, estrogen. So Superdrol also has a 2A methyl group attached to it, not only a 17 methyl group. So it's actually not going to aromatize or turn into estrogen whatsoever. That's another reason why it's a very, very popular compound, because of its anti-estrogen kind of abilities, not like Methasterone, but it won't aromatize itself. So by putting this second shield at the carbon 2 position, the enzyme aromatase cannot fit onto the steroid molecule. That means it cannot convert into estrogen. Methasterone uses the same 2A methyl group. So guys, in 2011, after Superdrol legal battles ended, Cahill bounced and he created a new company called Driven Sports. They released a pre-workout called Craze, which is what I was telling you about, where it got banned for amphetamines. The cover-up on Craze, how they got away with it, they hid this by listing a totally different chemical name, Dandobrium orchid, claiming it was all natural extract derived from the orchid, which Dr. Cohen, who is another doctor that got involved with kind of investigating Cahill, found there was no such orchids present. In 2014, Cahill launched Frenzy, a supplement company based not in the USA. They routed it straight to the UK and Europe, which was later found to contain another designer stimulant, DMBA. In 2015, Cahill tried to launch Craze V2 in the USA, but Cahill's reputation was so bad, all stores refused it. And for years, prosecutors held a shadow felony charge over Cahill for a 2008 product called Rebound, which was spiked with an anti-estrogen drug. So this guy has a crazy record, crazy track record. He's not someone you'd want to buy supplements or gear off. Well, maybe gear off for that matter. But I would argue that Superdrol is more popular today than ever before, just because it's like, a lot of people don't understand that you're going to get the same gains with injectables that you're going to get with orals over a 6-week period if the dose is the same. And the only difference is going to be your liver damage on the orals, right? So it's so beneficial to just play the long game and just let the injectables saturate in your body and be safer. You're going to feel better. You can stay on them for longer. So there is a time and a place for orals. There is maybe a time and a place for Superdrol. But for the most part, I think you're better off using compounds like Test, Methasterone, EQ, building off that, focusing on your diet, your sleep, your training, and that's going to be much better for you than crashing your liver and getting jaundice and then just losing all those gains when you come off. Maybe use Superdrol to break through a plateau. So I just wanted to quickly make this video real fast and let you guys know some of the history on Superdrol and the guy who created it. And I was reading off my notes, so hopefully you guys like the video. I'll be back later with another one.